Hi, I'm Jeanette Roche. This is Forum Daily West. Here are some of the top stories we've been following. Prime Minister Mark Carney's government won't table budget when Parliament returns. He's also open to changes to the No Pipelines bill. Plus, we tell you how the simple act of closing a door contained a fire and prevented a Lethbridge home from going up in flames. And the Winnipeg Jets now in must-win mode after Dallas Stars take a 3-1 lead in the best-of-7 NHL playoff series. Thanks so much for joining us. Prime Minister Mark Carney's government will not table a budget when Parliament returns in the coming weeks. Finance Minister François-Philippe Champagne says the Liberals instead plan to put forward a fall economic statement, but he didn't give a clear timeline for the introduction of the government's latest fiscal plan.
The first thing you do is the first step of this government is a middle-class tax cut. That's the first thing. You start with that. Then you say, well, you need to have a throne speech to say what are the priorities of the government. And once you've done that, then you do an economic statement, which is going to be the fall economic statement. So this is the logical piece.
Year at this point, right?
Well,
we're just going to go fall.
Fall is fall. You know, I could not be clearer than that. Fall is fall.
The federal director of the Canadian Taxpayers Federation is shaking his head in disbelief. Franco Terrazzano says failing to even present a budget is a huge crack in Prime Minister Mark Carney's credibility. He says Carney owes Canadians a budget.
Failing to produce a budget is a huge crack in Carney's credibility, right? Like, you can't have credibility on the finances if you can't even bother to put together a budget. And, you know, Canadians have many reasons to be worried about our national finances, right? The federal government doubled the debt in less than a decade. Interest charges on the debt are blowing a $1 billion hole in the budget every single week. So Canadians have every reason to be worried about the eroding state of our national finances. And the Carney government is essentially shrugging off those concerns.
The so-called No Pipelines Law, Bill C-69, was a topic of discussion today when the premiers of Ontario and Manitoba got together to sign an interprovincial trade deal. Both Ontario Premier Doug Ford and Manitoba's Wab Kinew say they're encouraged to hear Prime Minister Mark Carney say in an interview that he would be open to changes to C-69 to ensure that projects can move forward.
We have to compete against, not just around the world, but compete against President Trump and his tariffs. And the only way we can do that is if we get rid of C-69. It doesn't allow all of us across the country to move forward in a rapid speed. And I really appreciate what Prime Minister Carney mentioned yesterday. I personally feel he's going to move quick, but we all have to move quick, all the premiers, to get our economy going, make sure we give certainty to everyone across the country, not just our individual provinces and territories.
And I know we all have those big nation-building projects in mind that we want to see get done. We all want a clean, safe, healthy environment for the future generations of Canada. We all love that as Canadians. I just think it's important for the Prime Minister to respond to the current moment and ensure that these big job-creating economic projects can move forward in a good way.
The memorandum on trade signed today between Manitoba and Ontario commits the two provinces to ensure that a product, service, or registered worker acceptable in one province is also acceptable in the other. Ontario has already signed similar deals with Nova Scotia and New Brunswick and has tabled a bill to do away with all internal trade barriers. RCMP say the bodies of two people have been found as crews battle a wildfire in a popular lakefront cottage area northeast of Winnipeg. They say officers are working to identify the dead, but it may take days. Police say they received reports that some residents were stranded due to the quick spreading fire in the rural municipality of Lac du Bonnet. About 1,000 people have been ordered to leave the area as fires continue to burn in eastern Manitoba. Some structures have been lost, but a damage assessment has yet to be done. The blaze near Lac du Bonnet remains out of control and covers roughly 30 square kilometers. Pope Leo XIV met with a sinner today, but not just any sinner. Top-ranked tennis player Yannick Sinner visited the pontiff during a day off from the Italian Open. The two met at the Vatican just days after the new pope joked about Sinner's last name. The pontiff is an avid tennis player and fan, and Sinner brought him a racket. The pope and Sinner posed for photos in front of the Davis Cup trophy that Italy won for the second consecutive time last year. Lethbridge Fire and Emergency Services wants to remind us that the simple act of closing a door can contain a fire. That's exactly what happened Monday afternoon in a house fire in South Lethbridge. Fire crews from 3 stations responded to the blaze in the 1800 block of 18th Street South at around 2 p.m. Chief Fire Marshal Troy Hicks with Lethbridge Fire and Emergency says they arrived to find light smoke coming from the one-story family home. They were able to contain the fire to a bedroom on the main floor because the homeowners closed the bedroom door before leaving, which prevented the fire from spreading.
The fact of closing that door, the bedroom door being closed when the people evacuated, helped to just keep that fire isolated into the one room. Whether the people realize that or not, by them closing the door when they evacuated, it saved their home. It saved so much, minimized the damage that happened in their home. Now they have a room to repair and fix, not an entire house. The fire needs oxygen to continue to burn. And by closing a door, whether it's a bedroom door, basement door, kitchen door, whatever it is, you're helped to mitigate the amount of oxygen that can get there to feed the fire. So even if there's still a lot of fuel in that room to burn, if there's no oxygen, it's not going to burn. Also, another advantage of closing your door is it'll keep all the heat, smoke, flames, all damage in that room, prevents it from damaging the rest of the house. And it also shows us when the fire department respond, we now know where the fire situation is, where the area of origin is, the room of origin, and it's that much quicker to get in there and get the fire put out.
No injuries were reported and damage is estimated between $50,000 and $75,000. The cause of the fire is under investigation. The City of Lethbridge's Transportation Department is enabling a road safety project in order to prevent the leading causes of road collisions that result in serious injuries and fatalities. The city outlines 3 goals within the project's scope, which include understanding the culture on road safety and behaviors, developing materials and campaigns to increase awareness, and complete school travel plans in all elementary schools. This will mean city and consultation staff would perform site observations around school perimeters.
The outcomes of this project are community-based, so we're looking to help shift the culture of road safety in Lethbridge, and so we are involving a lot of different community organizations in the planning of this project. So we have AHS and our Lethbridge Police Service is helping with some of this stuff. We have our school boards involved, AMA is involved, so different partners in road safety are involved to help get the message out in the best way possible.
With us being in the area that we are, we're sort of surrounded by some major roadways. So I think parents are looking to know that we are working together with them, with the City of Lethbridge, to create plans that can help encourage safe walking to school, safe bike travel, safe bus travel in the area.
Additionally, a randomized telephone community survey will begin on Thursday to get responses from residents on the topic of road safety attitudes, knowledge, and behaviors. The full project is expected to conclude at the end of this year. Well, rental rates in Lethbridge have maintained higher rates than other urban centers in Alberta, according to a recent report. BCN's Landon Hickok has been crunching the numbers and has this report.
A new monthly report from rentals.ca showed that rental prices here in the city of Lethbridge have slightly decreased over the past month. The average one-bedroom apartment rents for $1,322 per year, a decrease of 3.2% from the previous month, but still a year-over-year increase of 2.6%. Two-bedroom rates sit at $1,535, a decrease of 2.2% month over month, but still a 3% increase from this time last year. It's still lower than the average rent in Alberta at just over $1,700, which has seen a decrease of 1.8% from last year. Lethbridge ranks 51st in the national average list, below cities such as Calgary and Airdrie, but considerably higher than other Albertan cities like Lloydminster, Red Deer, Fort McMurray, and even Edmonton. A local landlord spoke with us at BCN over the phone who preferred to be kept anonymous over the challenges that landlords face in our city. She says that she prefers to keep her rental properties for seniors over the age of 55 under market value and has faced pressures due to rising costs in utilities and maintenance, insurance, and property taxes. As for the largest urban centers in Alberta, Calgary, which holds the highest rates in Alberta, has seen significant drops of 9 and 10.3% of their 1 and 2 bedroom suites from this time last year. Edmonton remains relatively affordable, with their 1 bedroom suites renting for just over $1,300, barely lower than the 1 bedroom suites here in Lethbridge.
Well, nothing says summer like patio season. Dining out on patios is becoming the norm around Lethbridge for the next few months, and the city of Lethbridge has an initiative to bring more outdoor hospitality experiences to the downtown area. BCN's Naveen Day snuck out of our office today to grab a cool beverage and file this report.
Well, summer is almost here, which means patio season is going full swing. That means Lethbridge's outdoor patios, parklets, and street vending program is back, turning streets and sidewalks into lively, welcoming spaces. This initiative supports local businesses while enhancing the city's vibrancy and appeal. And here at the Penny Coffee House, manager Jacob Ramsdell says not only do patrons gravitate more to the downtown, he says sales spike up as high as 10% once the parklets appear.
It's a great thing for all the customers. They all do look forward to it, as we've been in the program basically since its inception, and I believe we were part of the kind of pilot program that was dished out in 2019 as well. During COVID, it was a big help because it allowed us to expand our seating and do all that stuff. So, our customers do really enjoy coming out here in the summer and having the fresh air and the nice summer sunshine.
Following a pilot project, the program started in 2020. It gave businesses free outdoor space to stay safe during the COVID-19 pandemic. With operations now stabilized, the initiative is shifting to a cost recovery model. Small administrative and space use fees will support the long-term success.
It's approximately $10 a square meter for a parking space, if you're using a parking space, and then just for the minor patios, it's a small $50 administration fee. But all of our fees have been reduced by 50% because this is the first year we're bringing them out.
We all knew that it eventually would go back to a paid program, and it's really not that too much for the opportunity to have people come outside and eat.
There are a number of parklets already installed around the city, which can add variety to those who love to enjoy Lethbridge's abundant sunshine and weather.
We have around 6 out and about. We have the old style downtown theme parklet that we have actually out in front of Beirut Shawarma, and there's a few along 3rd Ave where we had the construction done where businesses can move their bollards out to take up parking spaces, and then they can set up their patios on the parking spaces there. We have about 2 physical parklets to give out yet, so if those could be used up, that would be fantastic.
For program details, including safety rules, application forms, and the review process, visit the Lethbridge.ca website. For Bridge City News, I'm Naveen Day.
In international news, U.S. President Donald Trump says his meeting with interim Syrian President Ahmad al-Sharaa in Saudi Arabia went well. It's the first encounter between the two nations' leaders in 25 years. Trump has announced the U.S. will ease sanctions on Syria, which could eventually facilitate the country's recovery from years of civil war. We get more in this report from John Gambrell of the Associated Press.
The two men talked with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, and Turkey's president also dialed in to this meeting. And the focus of the meeting for the Syrians as well as President Trump were sanctions. Now, Syria has been sanctioned by the United States all the way back to 1979 when the U.S. first declared Syria a state sponsor of terrorism. And in the time since, there have been a lot of sanctions that have been imposed on Syria, particularly after the start of its grueling civil war that began in the Arab Spring in 2011. Now, these sanctions had a major effect on Syria. For instance, Syrians can't use major credit cards. Their banking system is locked out from other international banks, and it's really just stressed an economy that was already socialist for decades prior to that and didn't really have outside links to the rest of the world. Now, sanctions relief is going to take time, and unwinding this stuff takes a lot of effort from both lawyers as well as governments to try to determine how best to open up Syria to the wider world. And international businesses are going to have to make a decision as well whether or not Syria is ready and safe for them to make investments into. The fact that Trump is discussing this really shows just the hope that Syrians have that they can be sort of put back into the international order. Already overnight, we have seen Syrians go out in the streets, waving flags, lighting off fireworks in the hopes that their country could rejoin the rest of the world and could see the investment that it so desperately needs after that long war.
And in sports, the Winnipeg Jets are in must-win mode after losing 3-1 to the Dallas Stars on Tuesday at American Airlines Center. The result gives the Stars a 3-1 lead in the best-of-7 second-round NHL playoff series. Here's Gregory Strong.
The Dallas Stars beat the Winnipeg Jets 3-1 in Game 4 of their second-round NHL playoff series.
That is your Forum Daily West report. I'm Jeanette Roche. Thanks so much for watching.